Today's episode's going to be on the book of your life. What I find commonly what I spend my time doing when I'm not working specifically on something directly. I don't really get caught up in a lot of drama in life. I more spend time going over, like, just listening to what people are saying, what not always what words they use, but what they mean contextually. And whenever I hear somebody that has a concern or a gripe or an issue, I typically listen beyond what they're saying. So if somebody's complaining about their partner, I'm listening for more of what was it that got that person to that relationship? What are they really complaining about? And what elements about that complaint are actually redirected back at themselves, or something that may do benefit for them to understand that they themselves are part of the complaint, or what variables they play, in that role of the complaint. So I say that because my daily actions are around the idea or the opportunities of being able to get through the frustration, but first identify the frustration. A lot of the times what people are actually stating as a subject issue, that's not really the issue. It's more of a symptom of the issue. Like, how many times have you heard people say, predominantly just dealing with relationships again, how many times have you heard people say, I always date the wrong person? Oh, they've already mentioned the lowest common denominator in the situation is I. Oh, I always date the wrong person. Oh, the issue's clear. They're part of the issue. It's clear enough that that's it. If you constantly wait for the right person to show up in your life, you're likely not going to find the right person. Because you're not being what you're reflecting, what you want the world to bring, or the personality traits the person that you're looking for is actually going to have interest in. They're likely going to have interest in a very similar behavior that you have. And if you're on the other end of the spectrum and in contrast to them, you're likely going to turn them off, but so you wouldn't necessarily fully appreciate them. You're going to appreciate the idea of them. Now, that does create its own degrees of frustration overall, not just for the relationship perspective, but just in life in general. Most people, and I mean this by what I read as well as the people I interact with, there's a lot of frustration in the world. And the most common reasons for frustration would be attachment without achievement, the desire without fulfillment. Those things are common variables about frustration. Thinking that something should be different than it is, and feeling that frustration, hostility, or upset is a way of possibly achieving that, or at least a way of coping with the current moment by venting it or acting out. Now, this comes full circle to the book of life, the book of your life, which is, and I like to ask people this, is who's holding the pen writing the book? Are you holding the pen, or is somebody else holding it? To ask yourself that question, what would it look like to you if you were the one holding the pen that's writing the book of your life? If you're the one taking the actions, creating the life that you want to live? As if you're the one that is not doing something proactively to create the life that you want to live, you're more likely to have the upsets, frustrations, and or you're going to be given a life. It's just going to occur around you. It's a default prize. And if you're like me and or like a lot of other people, probably are not much of a fan of default. Like a door prize, everybody gets it. You don't always end up with what you want. You just end up with whatever's left over, which is whatever it is that you happen to go through. So what would you say are behaviors that get you the life that you want to have? Oh, and this is the things that I would suggest that you write down, and legitimately get a notepad or a notebook and write on it. Oh, the book of Chad's life, or, for me, right? Or write on it the book of your life, like write your name on it, the book of blank life. Do that. Make ownership. Own that book. Now, what would you say are going to be things that give you the authorship of your life, or what actions are necessary for you to be able to accomplish that? And take your time, write it down, put some thought into it, invest a little bit of energy in that direction. Every day we go about our life working on making it. We go about our life working on, achieving whatever goal it is. Maybe I just need to have my money by Friday so that I can pay my bills, or whatever payday is. Or maybe I just need to get this person to really like me. Well, those are short-sighted views. What are you going to do when the person does like you? What are you going to do whenever you get a certain amount of money, that you can pay your bills? What's next? Do you sit back and wait? Write this stuff down. What you feel are going to be the actions that give you authorship of your life. Now, I'm going to give you some of the things that I see as authorship for me. One of those things is so I know my goals. Now, what books do I need to have that will help me get to those goals? To help me build a step-by-step process where at least it gives me enough guidance that I can try things out and learn for myself how effective it is to get to my goal based off of, whatever experiences I had prior to the book, how I interpreted what was read, and how I've learned not just by interpreting what was read, but how to implement what I interpreted. That's one step, right? It's giving me some authorship there. Another one would be, what kind of education pieces outside of reading am I consuming that'll help me with creating that goal as a reality? Ask yourself that question. What is it? For me, I listen to a lot of podcasts or YouTube channels or books on tape, Audible, that kind of thing, that are dealing with psychology, sociology, finance, just different elements about community, nonprofits, for-profit businesses, personal training, exercise sciences, kinesiology, biomechanics. I educate myself in those areas. But I also have a different discipline when it comes to the work that I do. I'll get to this one in just a second. So it's a daily thing. Now, I give myself a window. How my window started for education was a long time ago when I was introduced to a company called Bodies by Design. It's owned by a man named Eric Maybe. Wonderful, an amazing human being, and I'm every day I'm grateful that I met him and that I took a chance to follow him, to learn from him, and to get into businesses of my own. He's a very ethical and very good human being. Has a lot of sincerity and authenticity. He's got a lot of integrity, which is what I think we should make a fashionable movement, not whatever clothing line or whatever, but let's work on the inner world and make a fashionable movement of that. When I first met him, up until that point, I'd only read one other book, 2 books, since high school. And I met Eric when I was 29. I started working for his company. No, I met him when I was 28. Started working for his company, and I was just absolutely fascinated by what he did. He worked inside of a physical therapy office. He worked a lot in corrective exercise and conjoint care or joined care with a physical therapist to help get real, expanded movement patterns outside of physical therapy, which was significantly successful for a clientele, which were physical therapy patients, but our clients, because it was working with us in conjunction. But I added in every day. In the very beginning, I gave myself a 10-minute allowance window. Actually, first it was I'm going to do 1 minute because I wasn't well practiced in it. And then I gave myself 10 minutes. Within the end of the week, the 1 minute wasn't enough time. I gave myself 10 minutes. By the end of that week, after I hit the 10 minutes, it wasn't even another week, and I'd given myself 3 hours daily of doing something, learning something, being engaged in an educational process to help me develop into more of what I wanted to see. By the end of the month, it was just 30 days after I started this, and I had not read books, and I wasn't really geared to that. I read magazines, muscle magazines and exercise magazines that are really not fully devoted to education through science, but more of marketing and things like that. So I read more of those things. At the end of the 30 days, I had given myself a schedule, and that schedule was from 6 a.m., actually whenever I woke up, which was either 5 or 6 to get to my first clients. I would not listen to anything that was not educational. No music, nothing like that. The only time music I would hear or consume music would be when I was at the studio or at the clinic and they had something on in the background. That's it. No elective music for me at that time. Went from 5 or 6 a.m. all the way until at the beginning of the schedule, it was until 6 p.m. And it went from 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then it jumped from that to 8 p.m. That entire window of the day was dedicated to learning whenever I wasn't doing something else. So if I was doing mundane tasks, I had earplugs, like my headsets in, so I could listen to whatever I was wanting to listen to. It was absolutely devoted to my growth. I was in authorship of my life at that point. I didn't know it then, as much as I was just really fascinated and followed my curiosity. Now it's changed. Excuse me for a second here. So now it has changed, and it has become, if I listen to music, I listen for what they're saying, not necessarily just the lyrics, but what's behind it and why is the music popular. And I look at it for more of the psychological elements versus just looking at it for does the beat line up or the chorus lines, associated with what I'm going through in life, those kind of things. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm doing more of, I'm listening for something much deeper. I'm listening for what is the benefit of the song, what's it going to accomplish by memorizing the lyrics, things like that. So I've realized that there's a lot of music that gets produced that really doesn't have so much of a care about what it does to society as much as is it going to hit the top billboards? Are we going to move up with this song to make a great living? That kind of thing. So I spend more time trying to be more purposeful, create more about what I want in life. These videos or these episodes that I do in this series, the channel's dedication, the podcast, all of that is dedicated that I want to give as much as I possibly can to create the world that we would all like to live in. But it takes something, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. This has been a journey for me for some time now. I've gone through different practices from all kinds of Eastern philosophies, different meditative practices, to different science. Well, not really different sciences. It's kind of a large perspective of science overall. And coming back to the Eastern and Western philosophies and education bodies or knowledge-based bodies, and marrying them together in a way that doesn't dismiss either one of them. So I've gone that route with becoming more interested in learning everything that I can. And I'll be the first to tell you I don't know everything, but I will tell you that I'm responsible and I'm in action for my life. I'm spending every day. There's massive amounts of time that I spend just learning what I can and implementing what I've learned in the best ways possible, being okay with failing in endeavors so that I can recover from, learn the lessons, and then continue the pursuit. Not taking it personal whenever something doesn't work out, taking it personal enough that it makes a difference that I didn't make it, but at the same time, not so much that I don't try again. I want to learn the lesson, and sometimes it does take being personal enough about it or taking it personally enough that you really want to change that particular element, so you put the fodder into the effort. So what are those behaviors? There are all sorts of them. I typically am not also caught in some of the elevator conversations or the pleasantries or the small talks. I'm not too keen on those. I can have them, but I usually try to, you know, dig a little bit deeper with the person that I'm with to come up with something a little bit more fruitful that might make a difference for both of us. I do it selfishly because I want to grow and I want to learn, and I want to do what I can to learn from other people so that I can grow my life and go towards my goals a little bit more effectively by hearing what their story is, but also genuinely caring. I care whenever I talk to people. I want to know that they're going through things in life that they're open to sharing, and not shut them down and not be a part of the process. You know, maybe I can help wherever. I'm the guy that will tell you, and this is another part of authorship. If you come by me and I say, well, hi, how are you? How's your day? And you say, well, not too bad. But, even if I had to complain, who wants to hear it? What I have to say to that is, the person that has the ability to help you with that complaint or that area that you're concerned with, you're not successful with, they may actually have the information capable of helping you, but if you never share it, they don't know. Now, a great deal of people are waiting for a complaint just to hear that your life is worse than theirs so they can feel a little bit better. Maybe they'll poke the bear occasionally and try to draw up some old stuff or draw up something that'll get you to react so they can be like, yeah, I'm at least better off than they are. Or at least I'm not alone in my misery. Somebody else is dealing with garbage too, or something that's undesirable. So we have all kinds of things that we do, but what I'm intending to do with this entire process is to help people get free from a lot of those things that aren't really fully necessary. They're necessary until you learn the lesson, but a lot of times you keep repeating it because the lesson hasn't set in, or you didn't realize, oh, that's what that meant. So the book of your life will give you those pieces, but it will take time to write it. Be patient with it. Experiment, explore, have fun with it. So the actions to be an author are going to be, what are you doing daily to get you closer to your goals? What are you doing daily for personal affirmation, for personal insight about who you are as a human being and existing at this time with the people around you? Like, learn more about you gives you more authorship. But if you just sit back, you wait till Friday to get your paycheck or whenever that paycheck is, you tell other people about the gripes in your life, but you have no interest in changing it. You get offended whenever they offer you some sort of advice, and you're like, oh, I was just venting. Or you ask for advice, you don't do anything with it. Though consistently, you burn out the advice that you're seeking. You burn the person out that you're looking for. You run the risk of it. There's all kinds of challenges that come out of somebody else is writing your book. You and the default idea of your life. So that's my goal, is to try to give you a little bit more opportunity to have a different experience. I don't know the path to take for you. I know that this has helped me, and this has helped a lot of people that have reached out to me, and over the years, the people that I've coached and then I've helped develop, this has all been helpful. Now, am I at my goal? No. I'm at my goal to this stage, yes. Am I at my long-term, bigger success goal? No, not yet. And that's okay. Another piece of advice also as you go through this process is understand as you start looking at your goals and say, that's my big goal. And then what are your milestones? And it's really valuable to establish milestones because you want to treat each milestone as if you've reached the summit of a point in time. It's not you're at the complete. You're there. You've reached just a, whatever part way or wherever you are in the milestone. Take the moment. Realize where you actually are. Look back at what you've done. Take account for what you've done. The people that you've involved yourself with. The things that you've done to develop yourself overall. And how well you've been able to give yourself the opportunity to celebrate so that when you do get to your major goal, you don't dismiss it because it doesn't feel the way you thought it would. Or you don't surpass it and then you come back around going, damn, I actually outdid my goal. There's a benefit of being able to be present to your goal. So these are all checkpoints. It's good to have them in the journey because it helps you qualify and you don't miss too much of life in the process. Otherwise, you can be so obsessed with getting your goal, you passed it, you're 10 years later and you're like, where'd the last 10 years really go? This is how you can actually live a life a little bit more successfully, in my opinion, and also the experiences of the people that I've worked with. So, all right, I'm going to leave it here for now. get a notebook as nice as you want it, decorate it for yourself, and I really encourage you to not only get one, do something to make it really personal. I'm one that actually I'm not as artistic as I am more of the hard sciences. So I may put something on there that would be a scientifically motivating quote for me, but you could do whatever, pixie dust, butterflies, unicorns, the mansion that you want to live in, whatever it is. It's okay. Build your book of your life. Put it in there. Decorate it in a way that you're like, yeah, that's what I'm working for. It doesn't need to be the brainwashing concept. You don't need to obsess over it as if nothing else matters, because if you do, you'll realize that nothing else did matter, and you'll feel like your life is short or less fulfilled because you were focused on one thing and life passed you by in other areas. So let's all stay in this together. Thank you so much for your time in this. I really appreciate you tuning in, watching the video all the way through, taking whatever it is that can help you, rewatch the video, share this with the people in your life you think would actually benefit from it, as well as put in the comment section some of the stuff you're taking away from this. You sharing like that helps me with my experiences going through this as well. I just enjoy it. So remember, subscribe to the channel, suggest the channel to people. I really greatly appreciate this with you guys. We're in this together. Let's make integrity fashionable again. Let's make being responsible for our life another fashionable element. Let's go that route instead of the other stuff that's kind of distracting you from your life because you feel like you're involved in something bigger, but yet doesn't really move you forward. It just gets you aggravated or gets you emotionally charged and distracted from doing your own life. We're all as a nation going to do a lot better. And as a species, we'll do a lot better by really focusing on us, getting our house in order before we start telling other people how they need to do their life. So I do this regularly. I'm not out telling you how you need to do your life. I hope you find the insight with this that might help you change some things to give you something different. Thanks again. This is Chad Everett Brochures. I am the host of Growing Up in the Wilds of Suburbia. It's Patrick Bateman back there outside. And Athena's on the couch taking a little nap. So, all right. Until next time, please keep thinking critically. We are in this together, and together we can grow and create something beautiful. But with that, enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward